Let's get into it. Soul Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. We got Joe Rogan getting attacked a little bit, criticized a little bit, and just outright disagreed with by a gentleman by, I think his name is Klitschko. I'm probably saying that wrong. Ukrainian boxer, decided to go to Ukraine. He's standing with the Ukrainians. He's in war, supposedly. I'm going to be honest. I don't believe he is. I think he's become more of a spokesperson, which makes perfect sense. He has a very big name and a huge following. It would make sense to keep him in that position. But he has a disagreement with Joe Rogan over something that I just showed you guys just yesterday. Now, this is Joe Rogan's stance on the whole Ukraine war. Now, I'm going to show this again, and I apologize for anybody who's seen this stuff already. But I just want to show you this so I can show you this gentleman's response to Joe Rogan and his appeal to him to have him on his podcast. Let's listen to this.
They're launching missiles and
Yeah.
how are you allowed to do that when you're on the way out? Like, the people don't want you to be there anymore. There should be like some sort of a pause for like significant actions that could potentially start World War III. Maybe that would be a good thing that we would like to avoid from a dying former president.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole thing is nuts.
I mean, look, I don't know shit about politics.
Zelensky says Putin is terrified. F*** you, man. F*** you people. You people are about to start World War III.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Russia fired a missile today.
I feel
Yeah,
like
they fired an intercontinental ballistic missile for the first time ever. It's the first time one of those has ever been used.
that's insanity.
Insanity, because those intercontinental ballistic missiles can have nukes on them. This one didn't, but if it does, the whole world changes, and it changes because of the military-industrial complex, and it changes because of the money that's going to Ukraine, and it changes because the outgoing president or whoever the is actually running the country has decided to do something insane.
Yeah,
Insane. And we're all sitting there watching it, and people are cheering it on. CNN was saying, finally. See what their headline was about Zelensky about Biden giving Zelensky the ability to use long-range missiles. U.S. made long-range. It's not like nobody knows where they came from. It's not like nobody knows we've been funding this. It's a proxy war. The whole thing is insane. It's insane. Come to the negotiation table. Sit down. Work this out. Stop killing everybody. U.S. allows Ukraine to use long-range missiles. So what did they say? Someone had said that, CNN was saying that it was a good thing, which I think is how? How has the left gone so far crazy that they think it's a good thing to launch missiles?
just
That's what's scary about life is you don't want to pay attention to that shit. You just want to live your life. You want to just be carefree and have fun and do the thing that you're passionate about. And meanwhile, the world is burning. And
you
you're
can't
just
do
hoping
anything
it doesn't
about it.
get
It's
to
like
you.
at that high level, it's like there's nothing.
Well, we can. We voted Trump in, and
Yeah,
his idea is to stop all this, and hopefully he can do that.
Yeah.
But man,
I get
we got 60 more days until Trump gets in, or whatever it is. How many days is it, Jamie? But who knows? Maybe once he gets in, they'll ramp it up. Who knows? Maybe they'll sabotage his administration. That's what's even more scary. People don't want him in power. And the people that are in power don't want to leave power, and they'll try every way they can to keep it. 60 days from today. All right.
on the news.
60 days.
Keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah, just hope Putin understands what's going on as well, and Zelensky doesn't do anything stupid. But saying that Putin's terrified, God.
It's like you're trying to tug the tail of a sleeping
Dragon.
Dragons.
Yeah. Also, Zelensky, can I get a drug test? Say
Whoever made this clip put that dragons part in. I did not put the dragon part in there. Because Rogan is a dragon believer, just so you know. But just to get to this point, he wants to avoid World War III. He doesn't believe Putin is terrified. He's tired of the military-industrial complex. And he wants to stop the funding of a proxy war and endangering American citizens. So that seems to be Rogan's stance in this whole thing. And he thinks it is effing insane. Now, listen to this guy and what he has to say to Joe Rogan. This is a direct response to what Joe Rogan just said.
Joe Rogan, I listened to your latest podcast. I'm sending you this video to let you know that I disagree.
You talk about these American weapons being sent to Ukraine, which you believe will lead to the Third World War. So, let me tell you that you're repeating Russian propaganda. Putin's Russia is in trouble, so they want to scare you and people like you. His war was supposed to last 3 days. It has lasted 3 years, thanks to the heroism and sacrifice of us Ukrainians. So you're using the only weapon that Putin really intends to use, propaganda. And this weapon really weakens our democracies. Putin's Russia wants to destroy Ukraine quietly. They want America to stay quiet, not great, but quiet. A great America is not an America that abandons countries that defend freedom with their lives. In short, you see, I have quite a few points of difference. If you invite me on your podcast, we could discuss them like free men.
Just took so long to turn off the video. Just took so long. You know, that's a thing that Gen Z people hate about us old people, is that we take to, when we start a video, we pause. When we end it, we pause, and apparently it drives them crazy. That's why your kids don't want messages from you. Just saying, little side note. So his points are that U.S. Weapons being sent to Ukraine is propaganda. Okay, I just want to make sure, because I'm just going to go over that again. He says that.
Joe Rogan, I listened to your latest podcast. Agree. You talk about these American weapons being sent to Ukraine, which you believe will lead to the Third World War. So, let me tell you that you're repeating Russian propaganda.
That's Russian propaganda somehow. I really don't understand. That's what's happened. That's in the news. All over the news is the whole news sphere, from X all the way to the mainstream, is just being taken over by Russian propaganda. Maybe, you know, I doubt it, especially since the government has admitted it. So is it the government doing Russian propaganda as well? Then he's saying Putin is scared. The war should have took 3 days. It's taken 3 years, and that's because of the brave Ukrainians. Now, I will say that it is because of some brave people and some men who were forced to stay, who wanted to go and were dragged into war. That's a real thing. There's videos of it. You can check it out. There's a lot of that. It's a little too obscene for me to show on YouTube, but you can find many videos of that on X. It is because of those men, right? But it's also because of hardworking Americans who are putting tax dollars into the government, thinking that it's going to benefit them. And in reality, it's been siphoned off to your country, to your war. So he's half right. It is because of Ukrainians, but it's also because of millions and millions of hardworking Americans who are financing that war, who don't want to be financing that war. They're being forced to. They're actually, a lot of them are asking for this to stop, and they're not being listened to at all, to the tune of, what is it, like this is $250 billion we're at? 300 billion or something like that? So he's halfway right. Also, don't believe Putin is scared. I don't believe Putin is scared the same way I don't believe this guy's scared, the same way I don't believe Zelensky's scared. Because people who are either spokespeople like this guy, because I don't care what anybody says, he's not in war, or else he'd be busy right now. Zelensky, he's sending people to go die. Putin is sending people to go die. So it's like, I get it. You know, war is a scary thing, even if you're at the top of the top. But at the same time, to say that he's terrified is just, how about this? Since believing that the U.S. has sent weapons to Ukraine is Russian propaganda, let's just say that's Ukrainian propaganda. Could be. I'm just throwing that out there. And then he's saying this propaganda weakens democracy. You know what's funny about this is that he's Ukrainian. So maybe he's out of the loop that we did away with that talking point of this is a fight for democracy. That talking point Nancy Pelosi even tossed that talking point away. They're like, okay, people don't believe that, whatever. They've thrown that away. Your talking points are a little old there, buddy. Yeah, so just very interesting, this guy's response. Should Rogan have him on? I don't know. I think he easily could. Why not? But obviously, I wouldn't believe him the same way I don't believe one of these guys that comes on talking about UFOs when they're on Rogan. I'm from the Pentagon, and they've told me I can tell you things. It's like, okay, what? I'm going to tell you everything that the Pentagon said I can tell you. Okay, man, tell me. What? I don't believe a word you're saying. You said you're from the Pentagon. Sorry. Done. Your credibility's done. I'm a whistleblower from the Pentagon. I still work for the Pentagon. And I'm just telling you everything they said I can say. Okay. Okay, buddy. So that guy would be around the same thing. He would be saying all the things that the Ukrainian government, Zelensky, has approved him to say. It wouldn't be anything other than that. And Rogan might benefit from that. I mean, why not hear somebody talk those talking points and try to refute them, go back and forth? But this guy acting like as if Rogan has this terrible take on the Ukraine war, when really he just wants World War III to not escalate, for things to not escalate to World War III. He also doesn't want Americans to be endangered. And Rogan's not some kind of angel. He's thinking about himself and his own kids and his own wife and his own friends and his own family. Like most hardworking Americans, they're like, what? I didn't want you to send the money. And now the guy that Ukraine's in war with is talking about pointing the missiles at us? How mad? Who wants that? Obviously. There's other accounts that are jumping on Rogan a little bit. Not really, though. They're trying to really appeal to him. They're saying that Russia has been bombing Ukraine for 1,000 in 3 days in a row. Where was this energy at Joe Rogan when Putin bombed Kiev's main children's cancer hospital? Just massacre after massacre of innocent Ukrainian lives. But if Putin's terrified, wouldn't that mean that he lost some people too? Nah, I'm just saying. So this person's trying to get at Rogan as well. But then he starts to say things like this: a word of advice and strategy for my friends, pro-Ukrainian friends. Let's not attack Rogan. There's no reason to make him an enemy. If he talks to somebody fair-minded about the Ukraine conflict, like at Real Jake Bro. Let me actually go on there so you guys can see him in case you want to follow him. That guy. He will see that the Ukrainians are just trying to defend their, and I would assume this says country. Country, yes. So, again, to this point, I think most Americans understand that when two countries are at war, they're both trying to defend their countries. You know? They're both fighting for their countries at the very least. I think they understand that. The problem is most Americans don't care. And it's not like a ruthless don't care. It's like I live in Kensington, Philadelphia, and my whole area is an open drug den. And I wish my government would take that money they're giving to you and put it into my community and clean this up. It's that I live in LA and I randomly got assaulted by somebody and they got arrested and I saw them out on the street the next day and they actually attacked me again. And I wish that there was some money put towards those problems. You know, it's more that people are worried about. They really don't have time. And I know it sounds heartless. They don't have time to be worrying about what Ukraine's going through. Again, it's not a heartless thing. It's just the way people work. You know, there are no people. I'm going out on a limb. Maybe there are some bleeding hearts out there, but I would think there's no people in the Ukraine that are like, I hope Americans are okay. What's that place called? New York? I hope New York's dealing with their immigration problem well. Is it going hard for them? Oh, I doubt it. I just doubt it. I doubt there's just people sitting around talking about that. Just straight up. This gentleman also goes on to say, let's try and get the truth to Joe Rogan. Cancellation doesn't work. It's not like he's a Tucker Carlson style ideologue. I think there's some chance we can still reach him with the truth. To even suggest that cancellation is even an option with Joe Rogan in America over something going on in the Ukraine is crazy. Crazy. Oh, I think this person would be shocked how many Americans agree with Joe Rogan. I think he'd be I think it would make the soy tears come out of his eyes, and he'd be very sad. Very, very sad. I don't think these people who get really caught up in these conflicts realize how other people feel about this whole thing. What else does he say here? Let me flip over here. Too many swear words on there. He says, I believe that there are fair-minded people with a noble heart will sympathize with the Ukrainian people if they just understand what Russia has done to the country and what Putin plans to do in the future to Ukraine. Again, man, it's just, you got to take care of your own house first. And a lot of Americans, how many votes does Trump get? 77, about 77 million people, including the ones that got thrown away because that happened. About 77 million people have decided, you know what? I want this place taken care of first. And I don't care if you're taking care of black people, Asian people, it just who's on American soil legally and born here. That's what I want taken care of first. America has made that very loud and clear. And Joe Rogan's just echoing that at the end of the day. So it's, I don't know if he's going to have this gentleman on, Klitschkov. How do I say his name? Let me see. Klitschkov. Man, listen, he's a boxer. I don't want to get it wrong. I don't want to get hurt. I like to keep all this pretty. Klitschko? Sir. Don't punch me, okay? But I don't think he's going to have this person on the podcast. But if he does, it will be very eventful, and we'll see, because it'll just be an all-out debate where one person's saying, how about no war? And the other person's going to be saying, we must. And because we must, you must. And that's just not a narrative that Americans are buying anymore. Anyways, guys, like, subscribe, turn on the notifications, helps the channel tremendously. Other than that, I'm out.